And so I grew up in this kind of like, I guess quite conservative household, and so there were a lot of things that I wasn't able to do. Well, not that I wasn't able to do. I was really discouraged about doing, and so when it came to watching certain TV shows, or whether it came to just certain like fads that were kind of cool, like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. While I was growing up, it wasn't really encouraged to buy into and sort of make your own kind of entertainment and stuff like that. And so, I guess as I got older, I kind of pushed back, as everyone does, a little bit against that, and I started smoking darts and when I was at school, and so got into a bit of weed and that kind of thing. And this one time, I was like, I hadn't gone to school, and I was at this dude's house, and we got real high and decided that like where we were, where he lived, was kind of like near a creek, and he's like, "Oh, come down, I've got this like real cool spot to show you." And we went down through like across the road, like through his neighbour's yard, like which backed down onto this creek. And we went down like through the sort of back entrance to this creek, and he took me down, and there was this undercover, or just the way that the trees and stuff had overgrown, was like a little cubby sort of shelter, and it looked like it was sort of used for by homeless people at night to sort of just crash in and have a bit of shelter. There were like logs that had been dragged in, and there was like a spot where fires were like regularly lit and stuff like that. And so like we hung out there, and we hung out there a few times, which was like real dope after that, and it became like a thing to do when we were going to get high. And this one time that we went down there, I had a lighter with me, and it was like kind of close to like just late spring, close to summer, and there was like a dry level of shrub, and then it went green again as the trees sort of kept growing over the top of it. And I was like, we smoked a joint. Oh no, we were probably smoking bongs if I remember right. But so it's like not rad, but young kids, what do you do? And I like passed it, and then I was like playing with the lighter and lit this dry shrub, and it all of a sudden it sort of took off just a little bit. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Like, we didn't really stress about it too much, sort of just watching it, talking a little bit more, and we were like, oh, it'll stop when it hits the green, like, we're cool. And we were sitting there talking for like a few more minutes, and it didn't stop. And the fire just like consumed the whole inner wall of this like little cubby that we were in, and we were freaked out and like just bolted straight up out the back of his neighbour's joint, and like across the road into his like driveway, and just like hung there, just like sitting on his driveway, like just watching, because you could see down the hill, like you could see this like fire happening down the hill. So we were just watching, and we were like, what do we do? Like, we don't want to, like, if we call the fire engine or anything, like, they're gonna know it's us because they can track that stuff. So we just bolted, and all of a sudden we got like a few places down, and like 3 fire engines pulled up, like about the front of, like, sirens were blaring, and 3 fire engines pulled up and like ran down, and they started hosing, because you could see like down this hill from the road that we'd bolted down, like completely over like looks over the fire. And we were freaking out at the time, like, it's not cool. We were just absolutely like lost for what to do. So just stopped, saw the fire engine, and we were like, oh shit, what have we done? Like, we're dead, we're fucked. And then this neighbour from down the street like grabbed like my collar. He's like, what are you kids doing? I'm like, nothing. He's like, is that anything to do with you? Like, don't know what you're talking about. No. We've just been like at his house. And I guess it would have been real strange to anybody putting, like, any adults who actually get what's going on. Oh, it's like 12 p.m. Why aren't you kids at school, sort of thing. Like, clearly it's to do with us. Like, what the hell are we doing, like running through the streets? And we were just like, nah, and like shook him and just ran. And then like went up the hill. There was like another spot where we used to sort of hang out, and just sat there for like the next 3 hours. And turns out, like, I got home that night and I was like, found out like 7 fire engines had to come. It was like a real big deal to put this thing out. Like, completely burnt out where these homeless people stayed. We were so bummed out about it for a bit. It was something we kind of held over each other at school, because we drifted a little bit afterwards, and we kind of had this like secret that like we knew that I'd lit the thing, and he kind of held it over me for a bit, that like, if ever I crossed him or ever did anything wrong, like this one story about me burning down homeless people's like little shelter would come out. I'm like, fuck. Oh, yeah, funny story.